What's going on YouTube? So as I'm sure you've probably noticed, the RAV4 is very popular here in the US. And people are also increasingly worried about fuel economy and alternative powertrains. That's where the RAV4 hybrid comes in. And for 2022, it is getting a mid-cycle update to update the design, features, and even add a new hybrid exclusive trim level. So is the hybrid the version of the refreshed RAV4 to buy? Let's go ahead and find out. So let's get things started here with the exterior design of the RAV4. So of course, this has been changed just a little bit this year. You might be able to notice that it is slightly different. They have kind of massaged some of the features here to give you a little bit of a different look, but nothing radically different for this refresh. Now, this specific example we have today is the RAV4 Limited Hybrid. So being the limited trim does mean we're gonna have this special gray finish across the grille here. It does also mean we're gonna have this silver accent down here at the bottom. Now let's move on to one of our most substantial front end updates, and that are these LED headlights. So the RAV4 did have standard LED headlights before, but on most of the trim levels, that would be all but the LE, they have upgraded this to a projector style LED this year instead of the reflector style. That's a nice premium touch. You'll also notice that the daytime running light has a revised design, which looks a lot more premium. And here on the limited trim level, we have the LED turn signal indicator as well. Now moving down, this is another upgrade. We have LED fog lamps as well to match with those LED headlights. That's going to be included on the XLE Premium and above. Now of course, what refresh would be complete without new wheel options? And indeed, most of our wheel options are new for 2022. That includes this limited trim level. We have an 18-inch alloy wheel. As you can see, the design is a little bit different. We also have a kind of dark gray finish. I believe this previously came with a chrome finish. I definitely like the way this looks a little bit better. Adds kind of a sportier vibe to the overall vehicle. Just be aware, on the hybrid model, 18 inches is the top wheel option. You can get 19 inches if you had the gas-powered model. Of course, you do have kind of the squared off wheel arches to give this a rugged vibe. And coming up to our mirrors, all but the base model will come with heating, the turn signal indicator, as well as blind spot monitoring.
All right, guys, so let's talk about the side design of the RAV4. Now, of course, I'm a big fan of the boxy design that this generation of the RAV4 has always had. It really has a tough and rugged look. Now, as far as the length is concerned, we're looking at 180.9 inches in overall length, which does place it right on par with what its competitive set offers. A few other things. The limited model is the only one that's going to get the chrome accenting here. And I do also want to point out, new for 2022, of course, is that hybrid SE trim level. That model cannot get the two-tone roof. You will have to go for the XSE hybrid if you want the two-tone roof option. Now, working our way around to the rear design, Toyota really hasn't changed much in terms of the rear design for this refresh year. They have maybe manipulated a few little things, but overall, it's going to look pretty much the same as the previous RAV4s have looked. So let's break down some of those design elements. We have an exposed rear wiper right down here in the bottom. We do have some nice chrome trim going in between the taillights. That is going to be for the limited model. If we drop over to our taillights themselves, they are going to be partially LED, and these are the same taillights that you've seen on the previous RAV4s. So the brake light portion as well as the accenting is LED. However, your turn signal and reverse light is going to remain incandescent. I would have really liked to have seen Toyota maybe include full LED taillights like they do on the fully loaded Camry models. Dropping down to the lower department, you will notice that we do still have some black trim, even though this is the limited model. We do have some chrome down here, nice accenting. And then we're also going to have exposed exhaust outlets. As you can see, it is a dual exposed exhaust outlet setup, even on the hybrid model, which I really love that they've included that. And as far as your towing, oddly enough, the hybrid is actually going to have a higher tow capacity than the gas model. So you're looking at 1,750 pounds. Now, the RAV4 has always had advanced safety technology at the forefront, and standard equipment on all the models, and that's going to continue for 2022. So you will have standard forward emergency braking with pedestrian detection, lane keeping assist, auto high beams, as well as adaptive cruise control, and that's going to go for any trim level that you're going to get of the RAV4. Now, as far as your warranty information, we're going to have Toyota's signature warranty, 3-year 36,000 mile basic, 5-year 60,000 mile powertrain, and Toyota is also throwing in 2 years and 25,000 miles of complimentary maintenance, which of course is a nice touch. Well guys, that's going to conclude the exterior of this RAV4, but this is a fully loaded model, so let's go ahead and hop on the inside and see what tech and luxury they're going to include.
So as we walk up to the RAV4, you will find Toyota's Smart Entry system standard on the XLE grade or above, with the brand's typical key fob, and getting inside is as easy as just grabbing behind the handle. Let's go ahead and get inside and get out of this wind. As you can probably tell, the overall interior design hasn't changed a whole bunch, but there are some differences which I will point out as we go through the video. But let's go ahead and start off this interior review with the materials and color options. So the LE, XLE, and the new SE trim level, those are going to come with cloth seating. However, when you get to the XSE trim level, that's going to come with a Softex leatherette, as well as the XLE Premium and the Limited we have today. As you can see, we do have a really nice color option. This is called Nutmeg. I really like the way this looks. It classes up the cabin, makes it look nice and premium. But if you don't like this, you can also get black or gray options as well. This is, like I said, Toyota Softex leatherette, but it feels nice and realistic, and I do like all the stitching details and the perforation that runs through it. Now, as far as the seat itself, it is going to be 8-way power adjusting with 2-way lumbar support. And then taking a look at the door trim, one of the benefits of getting the Limited trim level is that we have the most luxurious door trim arrangement. As you can see, we have the leatherette that covers basically the entire thing. It goes all the way up to the very top. We have the stitching detail, and that runs all through there and connects over to the leatherette on the dashboard. 2-person memory seating is included on the Limited. It's available on the XLE Premium. And as far as our windows, they're going to be one-touch auto up and down for all 4. Now, as we continue taking a look at the materials inside of the cabin, they are pretty nice. So you do have a soft touch dashboard across all of it. Down below that, we have the leatherette that runs all through this center area with the color contrast stitching detail, and that definitely looks quite nice. And then the lower areas, these are going to be hard touch across the entire lineup of RAV4s, but everything does fit together extremely well, as we expect from a Toyota product. Now to start it up, put your foot on the brake and press the blue button. And of course, you already know at this point, this is the hybrid version, so when you fire it up, you're not necessarily going to hear the engine start up because it doesn't have to. Of course, that does also mean we have a different gauge cluster. So we do have our hybrid analog gauges off to the side of the Premium, 7-inch multifunction display right there in the middle. The LE through the XLE Premium will come with the smaller 4.2-inch multifunction display. Of course, you can scroll between all the expected information, and the design does somewhat change as you switch between different modes. As we pull back to the steering wheel, we do have a nice leather wrap steering wheel on the vast majority of the trim levels. It is going to be manual tilt and telescoping, but since we have the weather package on this Limited trim level, we have steering wheel heating. We also have rain sensing wipers on board. And another thing that's nice about this fully loaded model, I want to go ahead and show this off because this is where the button is located. This is our 360-degree camera system. So you'll see this demonstrated again when I go into reverse, but I wanted to show off the perimeter scan. This is part of the advanced technology package on the Limited trim level, and it's certainly pretty cool. But anyways, let's carry on with interior storage for the RAV4 Hybrid. As you would expect, it is pretty much the same as the gas-powered model, and it is pretty much the same as it was last year. Inside, you're going to notice we have a little removable tray here. This has the same kind of tire tread texture you'll see repeated throughout various places of the cabin. If we set that off to the side, you'll see we have quite a deep amount of space. Very generous. There's a felt lining at the bottom. We also have two USB-C ports, so I believe that is new for 2022, the switch to C instead of A. But here we go. It's time to test it out with the coupons. They're going in. As you can see, they fit perfectly fine. Up in front of that, we have really deep and really nice cup holders. I appreciate these because no matter how tall your water bottle is or whatever, it's not going to tip over because it does have these side walls. And then furthermore, we have a storage area up here in the front. Part of our advanced technology package is the Qi wireless phone charging pad right here. This is available on the XLE and above through different option groups. We have another USB and a 12-volt outlet as well. And I'm not quite finished yet. I do want to go ahead and point out we have the signature Toyota shelf right there in front of the passenger. We also have a little mini shelf over here next to the driver, so a lot of places to store things in this RAV4. One of the best in the segment, as a matter of fact. All right, let's turn our attention now to the shifter. Of course, it is a traditional style. You're just going to pull back for drive. You can bump over here to the left if you want to shift through some simulated gear changes on this hybrid model. Clicking into reverse, like I was mentioning earlier, here is your 360-degree camera system. As you can see, you do have both the regular view and the overhead view with active trajectory and parking sensors. However, I will say the resolution on this is a little on the low side for sure. And what that sound you're hearing right now is because the engine's not running, so it's playing a pretty loud noise to warn pedestrians that you're backing up. Then when you put it into park, that is when your electronic parking brake will automatically engage, and you do also have a brake hold function as well. Oh, and I should say one more thing for all the rest of you guys that don't get the 360-degree camera system. You have a fixed path on your LE through your XLE Premium, and then you have dynamic guidelines with the traditional camera on the XSE and the limited trim level as standard equipment. All right, now moving past that. Of course, you do have your drive mode controller right there. You do have a dedicated EV mode so that can lock the vehicle into electric only for a short period of time. And let's move on up here to our climate controls. Of course, one of the nice things about this generation of the RAV4 has been these very simple and easy to use climate controls. Now, standard on every version of the hybrid is a dual zone automatic climate control setup. That is a little different than the regular RAV4 because the base RAV4 does come with a manual climate control setup when you choose just the gas-powered model, but alas, all the models here do have the dual zone automatic, nice, easy to use knobs and buttons right through there with your additional functions below that. Furthermore, we are going to find our 3-stage heated seats. These are going to be standard on XSE and limited trim levels. They're available on the XLE models. And then we have optional ventilation here with this limited trim level. Alrighty, and now let's come on up here to our audio systems. So you do have a standard 6-speaker sound system on LE through XSE. However, standard on the limited, optional on XSE and XLE Premium will be this 800-watt 11-speaker JBL sound system, which does have a subwoofer. And we're going to go ahead and give this a sample right now. Yeah, so overall sound quality is definitely quite nice and certainly an improvement over the standard 6-speaker sound system. Additionally, I do like the design that they've put on the speaker grills where you have that same repeating theme that goes throughout all of the other parts of the cabin. Alrighty, so let's talk about one of our bigger interior upgrades for 2022. That's the fact that the display is bigger. It's not super obvious when you first get into the vehicle, but we now have a 9-inch display on your upper end trim level. So X, SE, and limited trim levels come standard with this 9-inch display. You can option it on to the lower trim levels, and that replaces an 8-inch display. LE through XLE Premium will continue to have the 7-inch display that it had last year. In terms of the infotainment system itself, this is the latest version of the Intune system. It's not Toyota's brand new infotainment system that has debuted in the all-new Tundra. That being said, this is a very simple and easy to use system. We do have the built-in navigation system, as you can see. Nice and responsive. Of course, you do also have Android Auto and Apple CarPlay abilities, but they are the wired variety, not wireless like their new infotainment system supports. As we continue through the cabin, the next place we come up to is our mirror. As you can see, it is a frameless auto-dimming design, but we additionally, in our advanced technology package, get the rear camera mirror system. So as you can see, flip that switch, you get that nice crystal clear camera view out the back of the vehicle. We've also got a sunglass holder and another 2022 change. This is a small one, but it's meaningful. Toyota has switched the lighting from incandescent to LED this year, so all the interior lighting in here is LED. And finally, wrapping up the front of this cabin, we have this large panoramic sunroof. So you're gonna have a regular size sunroof standard on XLE Premium and above. However, on the XSE and the limited trim level, you have the availability to option on this panoramic sunroof, which I definitely like. Lets in a lot of light, and of course, as you can see, the front panel does fully open up.
All right, guys, now the RAV4 is, of course, a super popular product, and part of that reason is because this is a family vehicle, and many families are choosing this RAV4. So let's go ahead and talk about this second row area and see what it's all about. Now, let's talk about the space first. We have 37.8 inches of legroom, 39.5 inches of headroom, and as you can see, that 37.8 inches of legroom, is going to give you plenty of space. I'm 5'9" for reference. Drew is 5'8", and as you can see, I have probably 6 inches or so of legroom, and my feet can easily slide up underneath the seat. So certainly, I'm very, very comfortable back here. Now, if you're looking to compare that to some of the rivals, that is a little bit less than Honda CR-V and Nissan Rogue, but not by a lot. Now, let's talk about our features here in the middle. So you are going to find vents, and that's going to be standard on every single RAV4 besides for the LE trim level. Then if we drop down below that, since we do have a higher end model, we're also going to have USB ports. These are the new Type-C variety, and they're also illuminated, so that's a nice touch to see. Then if we fold down the center armrest, you will notice we have cup holders inside. We have a nice armrest. It keeps things pretty comfortable back here. And then let's turn to our door trim. Now for the limited, even in the back, we do have the same nice materials. We have leatherette covering the vast majority of it. I love the color of the leather. And you're also going to notice another feature, that is heated rear seats. They are optional on this limited trim via the weather package. So you do have to go pretty much to the top end model to get that feature, but it is nice that they do offer it. And then we do also have a bottle holder down on the bottom to finish us off. All right, coming up to the cargo area, of course, this is a very important part about the RAV4, but let's talk about how you get in. You are going to have a power tailgate if you go for at least the XLE Premium model and above, and optional on the Limited, and we do have that feature, is a hands-free function. So just kick your foot under the bumper to open it up, and it does open right up. Now, I also want to point out that in that same advanced technology package, that does also include sensors on all 4 of the doors for the smart entry system. So that's a nice premium touch that they are throwing in on the RAV4. Now, let's talk about the cargo space back here, because this is probably more important to you than really any of the features, because you're going to need to haul stuff on your family vacations and such like that. Now, let's talk about that. We have 37 cubic feet of cargo capacity behind the second row seats. As you can see, they do fold 60-40 split, and as a maximum, you're going to have 69.8 cubic feet. That does place it a touch bit less than the Honda CR-V hybrid. However, this is still one of the largest offerings within the entire segment. That is a really large cargo capacity. It's also worth noting that for the hybrid, you're not going to have any capacity reduction over the regular RAV4. So that's not something to consider when you're looking for the hybrid versus the gas model. Now, in order to fold the seats down, you just reach up push forward. As you can see, it is a little bit tricky to do it from the cargo department. They don't have handles back here, but when you do fold it down, as you can see, it does give you a pretty flat loading floor. Like I said, you do have a lot of cargo capacity. In addition to that, we have LED lighting here on the side. That is a new feature this year. We have some little storage cubby right here, as well as a 12-volt power outlet. And then if we lift up the cargo floor, you do have a spare tire, as well as this little unique cargo net. And coming to your passenger seat, you are going to have a new feature for 2022, and that is this standard power passenger seat. So as you can see, we do have the 8-way power adjusting passenger seat, which is a nice feature to have. Of course, that was not offered previously, and that is standard on the Limited. Now, as far as the features, we do have this little storage cubby right in front of us. You could definitely fit a few coupons in that. Then if we pop open the glove box, coupons are hiding from us here. I think they got a little stuck up there. But as you can see, that is quite a large glove box. They have about 47 owner's manuals, and we can still slide in our coupons in there. And then if we go up top, we do have a mirror. We have new LED lighting. And then if we detach it, you will notice that we have an extension in the end.
Above 60 miles an hour, just like that. So of course, this being the hybrid model, that actually is going to mean that you're going to have a little bit more power than the gas-powered model, and you can feel that from behind the wheel. So total system is 219 horsepower, which is pretty good, and really shoots you off pretty nicely.
Yeah, the thing about the hybrid is that the battery components give you that instantaneous torque when you're taking off. So from a dead standstill acceleration like that, it's actually really impressive. It takes off with a lot of force, and then, you know, overall 220 horsepower is very good for this segment. It makes it one of the most powerful things you can get in this segment, besides for maybe a turbo Mazda CX-5. And of course, it is more than the regular one, which comes in at 203 horsepower.
Right, and you know, in just casual acceleration, you do feel that extra torque on board for sure. In day-to-day driving, we found out. Of course, I should tell you guys what actually makes up the hybrid powertrain. It is the same 2.5-liter 4-cylinder engine as last year. You have your electric motors, and we do have a nickel hydride battery pack. Of course, with the hybrid model, one of the important features to keep in mind is that we have standard all-wheel drive, because the way that this system works with the rear electric motor, you are going to have all-wheel drive, you know, all the time on board. There is no front-wheel drive version with the hybrid model.
Yeah, and as you'll see throughout this test drive, just how smooth the handoff is. Toyota really does hybrids the best. There's really no other way around it. Toyota, Lexus, they have the single-handedly smoothest handoff. You cannot feel at all when the vehicle is switching from the gas motor on and off and battery power. It really does a phenomenal job, you know, and it also can power off at high speeds. So, you know, Drew might keep in mind and point it out throughout this test drive, but you might be going down a hill going 60 miles an hour, and it'll go ahead and turn the engine off, and you'll just be coasting using battery power.
Exactly. You know, you can just really tell Toyota has a lot of experience with hybrids. I mean, yeah. It's as simple as that. And when you're behind the wheel, when you own this vehicle, you feel that in that experience. Alright, so that was kind of a gingerly acceleration there. We made it up to 26 miles per hour with a slight incline before the EV turned off. Like Mason said, it does turn off at various times, even at high speeds. Now, I want to go ahead and talk about the transmission. That is, of course, something that's different from the full gas-powered RAV4. Instead of an 8-speed automatic, we're going to have the ECVT transmission on board. Behaves like a continuously variable transmission. Nice and responsive. As you can see, you put your foot down, you get that power immediately. Really, it's just all another good aspect of this hybrid system, how everything works together really nicely and smoothly in the day-to-day life.
But guys, the powertrain is of course important, especially for the hybrid model, but this is a family SUV first and foremost. Roughly 500,000 of you pick this every single year for your families. So let's talk about the ride quality as well as the sound level. The ride quality is really great. As we've learned throughout having this vehicle for the entire week, it really just blends into your lifestyle. As you can see, we're going over a very rough bridge abutment, and of course you can feel it. This is not a luxury car with an air suspension, but it does a great job of just soaking up the bumps as well as it really can, and this is one of the best riding vehicles within the entire segment. And I also want to get a sound level reading because we found this vehicle to be very quiet. Now granted, it is very windy today, but we're looking at 60.6 was the lowest reading that we were able to get there. I do believe that it is quieter than that. If we were to be able to test this vehicle when it was less windy outside, we have a storm blowing in, so that's definitely affecting that reading a little bit. I would estimate it would be in the 56 to 57 category. Alrighty though, we are just cruising around the city now. It's time to talk about the fuel economy. If you didn't already know, or if it wasn't in the video title, this thing gets exceptional fuel economy. Like Drew said, you do have standard all-wheel drive, so you don't even have to worry about front-wheel drive being an option. And it's going to get 40 miles a gallon combined. So the technical rating is 41 city, 38 highway, 40 combined. And that goes for every single trim level of the hybrid model. That is crazy good fuel economy, guys. That's better than what you get out of the CR-V hybrid, better than what you get in the Tucson hybrid. It's just, that's great fuel economy. Exactly. And you are going to use regular fuel as well.
Exactly, and we all know
it's important.
That's a very important aspect of these days
Yeah.
is fuel economy. So you're getting that really tangible benefit over the standard gas-powered model. And like Mason was saying, not just better than, a gas-powered rival, but also the hybrid rivals as well.
All right, guys, we are in Kentucky after all. Let's do our slam dunk and airball for the RAV4. There's a lot to like here, so we'll kick it off by talking about our slam dunk. I think for us, the biggest thing that's at least different for the 2022 is the front end. So I think that's what we're going to slam dunk, is that even though they've only changed a few little elements going on in the front, I think it looks a lot better overall. It gives it a nice fresh look. And I love that they've included the full LED headlights, the LED turn signal, and the projector components. That just really makes it a little bit more premium.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like he was saying, small details that make a bigger difference than you would think. Now, on the airball side of things, that's going to be the price tag. So I'll let Mason go ahead and tell you about what this fully loaded RAV4 Limited Hybrid cost. But we'll just go ahead and say it's a bit pricey and certainly occupies one of the most aggressive price points in the segment.
Yeah, so if you want to get a hybrid, we're going to start at $29,075 for the LE with all-wheel drive. There are quite a few different trim levels. That new hybrid SE, which is kind of a value-oriented one that looks good, doesn't have as much equipment, that's going to be $31,730, so I imagine a lot of you guys might pick that trim level. But if you want to go for this fully loaded Mac Daddy Limited, that's going to start at $37,575. And this particular tester has, I believe, every option that you can get on the Limited, since there is still some optional equipment. We have all the big ticket items plus the $12.15 destination charge, brings this tester to $43,379, which of course is about the most expensive thing that you can buy within this segment. But of course you do have a lot of luxury going on here and a lot of features. So
right, and Toyota has a lot of trim levels, so you can always downgrade this a little bit if you're looking for a little bit more affordable price point. But overall, we have always really liked the RAV4 hybrid, and that continues for 2022. Of course, Toyota with the refresh is not going to do anything crazy with this because it is an excellent selling vehicle, of course. People love it and it has so many strong characteristics. This is really one of those vehicles that you can say is a great all-arounder because it hits all of those targets that people are looking for in a family vehicle. Now, specifically, this hybrid model is a really great choice because of that fuel economy advantage that you're getting, and over the equivalent gas-powered model with all-wheel drive, you're only looking at about $1,000 price premium for this hybrid with that extra fuel economy. So that really seems like a no-brainer to at least consider choosing the hybrid over the gas model.
Well, guys, we really appreciate you making it this far in our in-depth look of the 2022 Toyota RAV4 Hybrid Limited. If you enjoyed this video or found it helpful in your purchasing decisions, I know a lot of you guys are going to be buying this RAV4 probably in the next year or so. If you found it helpful, please help pay us back by hitting that subscribe button down below. I promise you won't regret it. We have a ton of automotive content. It's very informative. We also have fun automotive content as well. Also follow us on TikTok, Instagram, and we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive developments.